Hello and welcome to the Dark Future dissection for this season 2 Fast 2 Furry. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Titus.
And I'm Sloan.
And today on our dissection, we will be answering questions pertaining to the last season of Dark Future Dice 2 Fast 2 Furry, sent in by listeners through our Patreon and our Discord server.
And also talking a little bit about our experiences and peeling back the veil and letting you know our personal feelings and thoughts that may have been hidden behind the mask of the characters we were playing.
That's right.
Or the role of the all-seeing god of that world.
And also discussing what's next for the podcast.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So who wants to start with the question?
I can.
First, I'd like to thank our Patreon producer, Ether Sphinx. And we'd also like to thank Artelzorine Games, the makers of Cyberpunk Red, which was the game we were playing. And a special thank you to Ben McNally Books for the use of their recording space. And thanks to Alec Trupiano, our editor, who's been doing just a great job.
Yeah, he's really stepped up the production of the show, I feel like. I think our listeners will agree. They were leaving positive comments about that. So thanks so much, Alec.
Fantastic. I can start with the first question. This is from A.T. Johnston. This was an amazing campaign. What happened to Eggy? Let's stop there. What happened to Eggy?
Okay, so honestly,
I'm burning
I
to
feel
know
really
the
bad
answer.
about this. The entire campaign, I was like, gotta figure out how to get Eggy back in here somehow. It's a loose thread. I gotta figure it out. And then literally on the last episode, there's a big note on my like notes for that episode that just says, use the chicken. I didn't have an idea for it. I just thought when it comes up, I'll find a way to get the chicken in there. And I forgot. I'm sorry. It was a lot going on, and
It's okay. You could say there's egg on your face for this one, but
yeah.
God.
yeah,
I can't account for every bullshit thing that Titus likes to throw in
How many? I feel
to
like
the canon.
I had one thing this time around.
No.
I just had one.
There's a parachute. There's like... what was it?
Yeah,
Like
it's
apology
hard
grapes?
Those are real. That's a real thing in the real world.
No.
Apology grapes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay, there's more, but I did want to leave space for that one because I was also kind of curious what happened to Eggy.
I was a little bit bummed about that. I forgot about it, but you gotta cut yourself some slack. You can't fit everything in.
I'm just going down the questions. I think that's all we have because all of them were just what happened to Eggy.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, okay. So continuing the question, I would be stoked for more of Finn and Lucky, Al, and curious about a new environment. Could they maybe get into orbital drag racing?
That's wild.
Or maybe a Martian racing circuit? Or on the moon?
It's like red line.
Love what you guys do and all the joy you bring me. Super excited for the new campaign with new characters too. Woot.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm glad that you enjoy Finn and Lucky's story and the Fast and the Furious kind of world and everything like that. I think definitely if we do another season of it, we'll be in a new environment. I don't know about space. I feel like you can't introduce space until the 9th episode or the 9th season.
Yeah. Like we are loosely basing it off the series Fast and Furious. So the third one was Tokyo Drift.
Right.
We were thinking something like
Tokyo
Tokyo
Drift.
maybe. I don't know. I have some ideas for that. There's other questions about the second or the next Fast and Furry campaign. So I'll leave it for that, but I'm not sure. Like, I have some ideas, but nothing solid. Yeah.
All right, I can read the next one. Jacqueline Bun says, first, I had a lot of fun listening. I would love to see more. Does Finn ever propose fully to Teresa? I was waiting for it at the barbecue, LOL.
Yeah, we didn't have any character moments at the barbecue, so I would have, but it's yeah, I guess it's going to have to happen later on if that relationship stays together.
Yeah.
Because I think if we were following a proper Fast and Furious type timeline, then she would have to die, but then it would turn out
lose
she
her memory.
wasn't dead.
Yeah.
She was actually just lost her memory and was working for the bad guys.
For like a whole
And then I would get
arc.
another girlfriend
Yeah.
and maybe have a kid with her that would then be captured on a plane
Yeah.
and murdered in front of me.
Yeah. You're throwing all kinds of spoilers out there.
Yeah, but I think it would be really fun to listen to me try to propose to someone in the Finn character.
Yeah.
'Cause, anytime I have something like that to do, it goes places that I'm actually surprised
Yeah.
at sometimes.
I think that would be a cool thing to focus on for the next one, is to just have Finn be nervous about popping the question and then
and being really weird.
or he does it at the beginning of this campaign,
And it's all about the wedding
part is like the
planning.
wedding planning.
Yeah.
And all that stuff could be fun too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meeting the whole Stallone family too would be great.
Right, her name is Teresa Stallone.
No, it's not
No.
Teresa Stallone. He's not.
He's in
he's
the
a
Stallones,
Stallone.
He's
but
in the
he's
Stallone.
Stanley. What are
Something.
do they have a canon last name?
I don't know if they do.
I know. We have not introduced that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be Diesel soon. Teresa Diesel.
Teresa Diesel. Oh my god. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It was really fun. It wasn't as much of the campaign just because of all the wild shit that was going on, but it was really fun to at the beginning, I approached Sloan with the idea because I thought it'd be funny to it was really fun to play Finn because he had like a daughter and that was something different in the first one. And then I was like, I like the idea of having some romance in there, but moving beyond the kind of initial fun part and into the sort of relationship negotiation and dealing with a person's baggage kind of section. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And I liked playing Teresa. I thought she was a fun character to play, and she kind of turned out different than I thought. Like, I thought she would initially be kind of like really done with all of Finn's shit, but then she kind of turned into more of a supportive character who's just kind of like, she kind of gets it and is like it feels like she feels like part of a thing, a part of a family, and wants to like kind of just keep that going rather than just kind of be like, stop all your nonsense, Finn. She's like, no, like, stop, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But also I get that there's a certain amount of nonsense that you need to do.
It would be a real short relationship if I just had like a no bullshit girlfriend. Because,
Yeah.
it's part of Finn's character.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll read the next one. Psychic Jester writes in.
No, it's Casper.
Why were Danger Girl paid to bring Rio back? I always thought it was Arasaka paying for the extraction, but then why the witness protection and no complaints from Rio?
So it wasn't, I can say this much, it wasn't Arasaka paying. That seemed to me, like I could see how that would seem like what it was. But then the wrinkle in the season was that the Cottontails were paid to kill Rio paid by Arasaka to kill Rio. So Arasaka doesn't want Rio back.
No, they want him
Rio
dead.
Right.
So there's a different party that wants Rio back, who I haven't talked about. Like
It's left.
Keep that one in your
more
pocket.
fodder for the next season.
Keep that one in your pocket.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean,
maybe
it's
a government
it's about
agency,
family. It could be anybody,
or perhaps a government agency with a mech suit.
The mech suit.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it was not Arasaka. And if I said that early on, then I'm sorry.
It's misinformation.
Yeah.
It was just,
You forgot your
Just
own.
all the smoke and mirrors.
I don't think I ever said that it was Arasaka.
No, I don't think you did either. I didn't get that impression.
No.
I don't know that we ever knew who it was.
No.
But I was in character not paying attention to the initial presentation.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That might have made it harder for the listener to understand what was going on.
Yeah. So the witness protection is because Rio is still
Wanted.
by
Arasaka.
could be killed by Arasaka at any moment.
that makes sense.
Okay, the next one's from Psychic Jester. I was thinking about that too. Like, I was under the impression that they wanted Rio retrieved and not just protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for my own questions, question 1. I did not see the relationship between Lucky and Bianca coming. Was it something that you all talked about in advance, or was it a surprise to Titus in episode 1?
We all talked about it in advance.
I knew about it beforehand.
Yeah, before the season started, we all talked about kind of stuff that I asked Lindsay and Titus, what do you want for your characters this season? And you both said romance, basically.
Yeah.
And that was the one that you had decided on, Lucky, in DM mode. Lindsay, you had said that you were kind of interested in something going on with what's her name?
Bianca.
Bianca?
Yeah. Well, we had thrown out some ideas. And then Bianca seemed like the most comedic, juicy, the stickiest ideas.
Stickiest idea.
As M. Night Shyamalan calls it, when ideas stick to other ideas.
Okay, question 2 from Psychic Jester.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one.
Do I read it?
I can read it. This question is specifically for Lindsay and Sloan. There were 2 incidents, one where you were Barb and DP and BFD, and the other where you were Bev and Sarah and Gals and Ghouls, where your characters had to make public announcements on the radio and you both cracked up. What do you think it is about doing what you actually do for real, but in character, that made you both crack up?
Okay, first of all, that is a point that I didn't even realize. That we're like making a public announcement while also being podcasters.
I think it's different. I think it's different personally, because when you make a public announcent, you have to like just deliver important information
succinctly,
which is something we don't do. It's just not something I do.
And you're expecting, and you're basically telling people what to do. You're giving
you have
them
to have a certain level of authority. So neither of us feel like we have the authority to like tell people what to do. So that we're uncomfortable kind of when we're doing it. So that brings out the giggles.
It also needs to have like something that we're terrible at, which is just a clear ending to your statement.
Yeah.
Just like you say your points and you stop and you're confident in that you've stopped. And that's something I can't do in character for some reason. It's just, I always have to leave it on like some kind of like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. So, sure. Yeah.
So like I'm waiting for a response from the GM, and this is not
gonna happen. That doesn't make sense.
It's a one-way street. It's terrible. It's also good because I feel like usually we've gotten ourselves into that situation.
Oh my God. Yeah. We always opt to do it. And every time we do, Titus is like, okay, go right ahead.
You can kind of tell that Titus is just like,
I'd love to see what you do this time.
Well, from my perspective, it's like a monkey paw machine. You know what I mean? Like, you're definitely digging your own grave every single time you go up there and just deliver a message to all of the NPCs that can hear you, you know?
Oh my God. I don't know why, too. It's just really funny to me.
Yeah.
The idea of us in character trying to say something.
I think it's also the spotlight is on you. Like normally we're just like talking and bouncing off each other. Well, here it's like, okay, everyone be quiet.
It's time for stage. She can't handle the pressure. Neither can I.
Yeah. Well, the first time I can say when I was DP doing it is DP was also like on drugs.
Yeah, DP was supposed to be high as hell.
So after I started laughing because I was like, this is going bad. And then I was like laughing, and then I couldn't think about it not being in character that he was laughing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
it's just funny.
It was a vicious cycle at that point. I couldn't keep it together. But yeah, it was just, it's a combination of things that we were saying for sure.
Okay. And then no, that's not the last. It's the third question.
Yeah.
Not one more question for Sloan just popped into my head. I noticed that quite a few characters made it out alive, which means that perhaps there might be some future drama or awkward vibes between Lucky, Rio, and Bianca. Mm-hmm. The same could be said for Lucky, Rio, and Erica, since both women were previously involved with Rio. And didn't Erica express some romantic interest at Lucky at some point?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to acting out these uncomfortable scenarios with these 3 NPCs?
A lot.
I am very excited for this.
I love it.
I was hoping for this.
There was a bit of that this season where like people had like mimosa drink
Jello shots
off of Finn's back.
That was just a party thing.
No, Teresa was not impressed.
Teresa caught a little bit of that and was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah. That's true.
So there was a lot of kind of like, everyone's hot and everyone's trying to keep it
everyone's
together.
hot and everyone's a mess. Everyone's a hot mess.
Yeah.
So.
I am excited to see if Erica and Rio have some shit again, or
Yeah, Love Square, I think it's called. There's 4 people involved.
Yeah.
The last question.
Question 4. I hope you're not going over my quota here. No, not at all. Is there any possibility of Buzz's mom finding out what happened to him?
Right.
Yeah,
Buzz's
for
mom.
sure.
What was her email again?
Well, we hacked into her email,
remember.
so she can. If
It's
she
like
ever
cooking
looks,
tips or something.
if you ever look in this, if she ever looks in the sent directory, she'll see our message.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Actually, he replied, so it'd just be in her inbox.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're actually fucked. Actually, now that I think about it,
there's a good chance.
Yeah,
She'll come back. Yeah.
That's gonna bite us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say for sure. I'm just saying there's for sure.
You know what's
That's
such
for sure
a
a
dumb
chance.
fucking solution to that is to send her another reply being like, "Don't worry, Mom, I'm fine."
Yeah, but we didn't think about that.
No.
We went and had a barbecue. So
Yeah, it's true.
Next question from Suplexocrat. What are your favorite genres of music? Have any of you heard of the band Window Smashing Job Creators?
No. It's a good.
I need
It's a great
to
name.
check this out now. I'm so interested. I'm always looking for new, weird, kind of niche music. My favorite genres, I don't know, it changes from like season to season. Right now, I'm like listening to a lot of post-punk and like new wave stuff.
Yeah. Same. It changes for me a lot. Like, I like some shoegazy stuff.
You have a playlist that's just called gay shit.
Yeah.
It's just like queer artists on it.
Queer artists.
Indie artists.
Yeah, lots of indie stuff. Right now I've made a fall playlist that's just like lo-fi sad boy music.
Or like lazy girl singing.
Lazy girl singing is another one. So yeah, just a lot of different stuff. But I like kind of lo-fi grimy stuff.
Yeah, me too, generally. I like a lot of reverb and delay. More than the average person, I think.
I'm kind of the boring one in that I will just listen to sort of like lo-fi playlists or binaural noise, binaural beats,
City pop.
City pop. You do like. We all like city pop.
We all
here.
like some city pop.
The city pop, that's like my workout stuff, and then when I'm working, I just listen to stuff that doesn't really have like any sort of sad or angry emotional tone.
Some neutral stuff.
Yeah, neutral stuff with no lyrics, because that's the only thing I can kind of have on while I'm working.
You do have some favorite bands though, like prog rock stuff.
Yeah, I guess my favorite band is Supertramp, I'd say.
I do love
because there's just a period in my life. I guess when I was younger, I really loved the Doors, but then when I got older, I got into Supertramp because I was like, there's a couple songs here that just spell out the dilemma of my life, you know, in a way that I've never heard someone just articulate. Like,
so logical.
yeah.
So logical.
The logical song. I was like,
no. The logical song is prescient today.
Yeah,
Like, you listen to those lyrics, I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be a liberal today.
It's fucking good. Yeah. So, yeah, that's that kind of stuff. And then I'm introduced to cooler stuff by these two.
Yeah, we're the
We
cool
keep
ones.
up with the scene, I guess, more.
Yeah. Cool. Next question is from Kaiju Corp. Perhaps this question sounds dumb. Don't worry about it.
No dumb
You're
questions.
talking to the 3 biggest dumbasses in the world.
Yeah.
So-
Hey, speak for yourself.
because it might just be a confusion, but when the last race of the campaign happened, was that supposed to be at the bottom of the hole? Or was there even further to go? And in case there was, what exactly is supposed to be down there, if anything?
That's a good question.
yeah.
That's not a dumb question
I
at
don't
all.
know how many times I have to say this.
If you drop
There's always more down.
That's literally what someone also replied to. I think Casper also replied with that. I'm like, God damn it. It's so frustrating to me.
If you drop something down that hole, it ends up in the Pacific Ocean, right? Like
It goes right through the earth.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
It goes to the molten core of the earth.
what's down there is the fire and bones of racers. No, it's not the last level. What's down there is it's some mystery. Who knows?
Sadness.
The water supply.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, there's probably a bottom, but we weren't quite there yet. And I think as it goes down, it just gets more. I think like the way I pictured it is at the top, it's like where all like the people first settle and show up. And that place is a little bit more kind of sketchy and like a little bit more kind of like
A little less
uneasy
developed.
and stuff like that. And that's why the Boro Boys can be up there, is because they're a low level gang, but because of all the chaos, they can handle it. And then I liked the idea that there was just a section of it that was all just like, you know, like all out fighting right now. And it's like where all the shitheads go to just beat each other up. And then
The Stallones and the animals. Basically.
the like elite area, and then there's just like this party, and then I figured like after that it's like the hangover level, and then it just goes like and it just gets worse from there as you get deeper down. Like I had this original concept that you would get down to the bottom and there'd just be like the racing like queen, the queen of racing that just sits on like a throne of like motors and shit like that, and thinks that like they're like the like queen of like they have these
own
precious
Morantz.
resources down here, and that like they own Morantz, and
might
really,
just be mining.
really the queen of nothing, you know?
Yeah.
That was my original idea, but I think it was like it was too complicated to get down there. But yeah, so there's more down.
Okay, the next question comes to us from Cyborg Mod Andre. What happened to Mimosa? I was hoping to see her at the end, but I guess that wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's two answers to this. One, the first answer is I imagine she's still partying.
She's just there down in the level. That's her like place.
She reached the party level and was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna party my sorrows away. And then the other answer is that there was a lot of characters.
Yeah, it's hard to keep
The
track.
NPC bloat.
The NPC bloat hit hard this time. I think it was because of the traveling, you know, like anytime you're not in a central area,
you have to keep going.
You have to keep going down. You have to introduce new things.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my God. And then on top of that, like the NPC characters that the players create, the Patreon NPCs had to fit in there. And so it got to be a lot. The crew was like at one point, like 10 people. And I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore.
I remember I was like, okay, these Ninja Turtles need to get the fuck out of here.
They were funny, but God, we can't.
We cannot. You guys.
We can't logistically.
We made a deal. We delivered on it. Now get out of here.
That was one point where I was like, I am on. Yes.
Yes.
Titus,
Thank you.
Me and you are on the same track. It was fun, but no. And they're like trying to get away. Yeah. So that was funny.
That was good. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot. So I would have loved to have like a nice kind of ending for all the different NPCs and NPC character Patreon NPCs. But I just think by the end, it was like I had to focus on the core of what the story was what was happening with the story. And yeah. And so yeah, I apologize. I wish I could have given all the Patreon NPCs a cool ending. But yeah.
Okay.
Definitely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still partying down there. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll come back. We'll see.
There's always a chance. Okay. Is it my turn?
Next? Yeah.
So this is from BCP. And there's several questions. So we'll start with the first one. What happened to Finn's chicken? We already answered that. So will we see it again in Foul and the Furious, Tokyo Drumsticks?
Definitely.
Did Lindsay use her pull behind the scenes to get the chicken written out of the show?
I'm not that diabolical.
No. I just can't have nice things. That's the truth.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Chicken. That's a nice thing.
Question 2, Sloan, can you tell us how you came up with the city in a hole idea? Did you have any regrets when the players started to pick the concept apart? Asking about levels and ventilation. Did you ever consider the eggs in a hole chicken pun potential?
I didn't. Oh, no.
This is mostly a serious question.
It's mostly a serious question.
I love eggs in the hole.
So,
for the record,
I came up with the idea at the end of the last campaign, at the end of Fast and Furry.
Yeah, it was teased there.
It was teased there. And I just thought it was like, I think there was the concept of the mega building or whatever in
mega
Cyberpunk.
City. Yeah.
It's where there's just like a giant skyscraper that is
one
like
entity,
the size and population of a city.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what if you just invert that?
Right.
I think also there was like a Star Wars game that got canceled called like Star Wars 1818 or something, 1818 or something, that was about going to a whole city. And so that I always liked that idea.
Right.
Right. I think I remember that.
It's kind of like there's that planet that Obi-Wan goes to in the Revenge of the Sith or whatever.
That's
like kind of like a whole, it's a whole city.
I just always thought it was an evocative idea.
Yeah.
They're just like underground, but the hole is so wide that you still get daylight and stuff like that. And I thought it was a cool idea for a racing set piece where you could jump down it and like, there's crossways and race around it and all that stuff. There's like, yeah.
But
do you
then
want to
logistically,
speak to the players picking apart the concept?
I didn't regret it. To be honest, it's valid. Like, it's valid that it's picked apart. And at the same time, the only thing I regret is that I didn't have more time to flesh out the environment so that I could like have solid answers for those things. But like, I don't know. It's all in good fun. It's just it's fun to pick apart the setting. I know. Listen, I am a very different kind of GM than Titus. Titus has solid answers for things for the most part.
Oh, really?
Well, at least you're good at faking it.
Okay. Yeah.
Your environments are a little bit more thought out. Mine are silly.
I think it's a different. Like this is a different genre, right? So,
this is supposed to be kind of like off the wall,
but it's just like a little game I like to play where I like get obsessed with something. Like, how does the sand get out? I realize, but it's in good fun.
Yeah,
you know, it's part of our ventilation ongoing war.
Yeah, it just ends with a giant vent. Titus said he felt a little called out at the end. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't bug me. It just was funny.
For sure. And I mean, we got so much comedy out of that when it was like, there's always a level down.
And
we called it the glory hole. The glory hole.
Asking questions about how the food happens, and I come up with ridiculous answers. Tube hot dogs,
and dove wings.
Dove wings and tube hot dogs.
Yeah, that was like some of the best shit.
God. Definitely. And it's really fun to just run with that. Like how we just loved those dove wings.
Yeah.
Made us sick.
Every time.
The only other regret is that I got to come up with a cool idea for the next area, because I can't just go from whole city to regular city. It's got to be something weird now.
Half city.
Half city. Whole city to half city. Totally makes sense.
A borough.
Just a cul-de-sac where they.
What if I did do that? Just go really small with it.
Granular?
Yeah.
It's not really a Fast and Furious
Furious
type
No,
thing.
Yeah.
they are not about
They're
small
globe-trotting
things.
I think
I could do that.
globe-trotting.
Do
Yeah.
a globe-trotting thing where we're just like running off across the world.
Yeah.
We get a jet.
Yeah.
Different settings all over the place.
Okay, next question comes from Comrade Lucas. Hey, y'all, love this season. Your dynamic as characters is always so fun to listen to. Every time I run games, my players will find some way to derail the campaign. As a GM, that's always my favorite part. My question for Sloan, at what point did you feel the players derailed the story the farthest from what you envisioned? And did that change the outcome of the ending?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good question. First of all, out of me and Lindsay, right? Who's the worst to deal
Oh
with?
my God. Are you kidding?
Titus.
What?
Titus.
Really?
Oh, really?
Why do you say that?
Well, okay. Sometimes, okay. So Titus will rashly push the story forward in whatever direction you feel like. But Lindsay, so that's the struggle with you. But the struggle with Lindsay is sometimes I'm like, all right, here's this story, this hook that I'm dangling.
And I
in front of you.
don't take
And Lindsay's
it. Yeah.
like, nah. So it's different challenges.
Sometimes I don't even realize that's what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Can you give an example for each? Because I'm so curious about those.
So I guess the part where I was like, I did not expect this, but which is very valid that you did this, so it wasn't a huge departure, was, and I think there's a question that this returns to or something that someone else had, but when the doctor was super sketchy, so you just like, fuck this, not
right.
going and going to this doctor, and you invented all these reasons, and you're like trying to escape the doctor's place, and and like
You just wouldn't. You wouldn't go
you're
through
just
with
like
it.
no, and I'm like I guess I just played the character back because I wasn't intending. I just thought it was a little quirky. I wasn't intending for the doctor to seem that sketchy. So that derailed it a little bit because I was like, I gotta figure out another way to get his head fixed.
I think fundamentally, though, Finn is really bad at self-care.
Yeah.
And has
then
trauma, understandably, around operation.
Yeah.
and
It made a
surgery.
lot of sense, so I don't blame you at all.
Right.
But it
is just like,
derail
what
a
are you
little bit.
doing? I just gave you an opportunity
Yeah.
to get this
fix
brain
your
damage.
players.
Yeah.
And then I think
For me, it was like something to do with the cottontails or something.
there was a lot of opportunities for Lucky to like kind of talk to Jackie about like the kind of tension there,
The dynamics,
between them, and I was that didn't happen immediately. It did happen eventually.
Yeah,
Right.
like at the very end.
But I think that was good that it happened then, because that was the emotional climax of it all.
resolution of the tension.
But yeah, like so that was definitely one of those moments. As far as other, it's hard for me to recall all of them, but like
there was one that was really bad for me when it was like the beginning of the Gals and Ghouls.
Yes.
Where like that Rose character came to my
And
door
you're
and was like,
just
I
like-
need help with this. And I'm like, can't you just talk to my dad?
Like,
Why are you talking to me?
I don't
This is
have.
literally the call to action.
Yeah, this is the call to action.
I didn't even fucking get it.
Can you?
No, I
maybe
thought for
answer
some
that?
reason I thought she was like having an affair with my dad
That's
or something.
so wild to me. That's
I was
where
like
your
so
mind went.
confused.
That-
I was like, why are you here?
Yeah.
that just means you don't metagame very often.
No, get it. I was like truly in the mindset of a 20-something-year-old.
That was incredible. Yeah. I usually have something for that, but this time I was like, this is a one-off. This is all the story I
one
can
shot.
give.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You either do this or everyone dies in town. So what do you want? What do you want to happen? Yeah.
And then the last question is for everyone. As a fellow Toronto pal, I would love to hear some restaurant recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
We only have, we usually try to seek out vegan places because Titus is vegan and we're vegetarian.
Yeah.
We had a place called Love or something.
L-O-V.
L-U-V.
Yeah. Or L-O-V. I can never remember.
Or L-O-V. Yeah. And it was a vegan place on King.
But it closed
down. Yeah, it closed down. Like just recently, I think.
What was that other place that we went to?
So we found another place called Seuss.
Yeah.
And they're like Asian fusion cuisine that specializes in vegan.
Well, they have a vegan menu.
Yeah, they have a menu
called the Fat Choi menu.
The Fat Choi menu. That's
which
the one
was
that's
confusing
vegan.
to me because when we were looking for it, I was just circling around with Google Maps being like, where is this place?
Because it's called
Fat Choi?
Seuss.
Yeah.
Like the restaurant's called Seuss, but yeah, the Fat Choi menu is the vegan menu. And that was really
good there.
Kind of like more high end, but like worth it.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, Delfina, if you want some good
pizza, Delfina Pizzeria.
Delfina Pizza does like good like Italian style pizza, wood fired oven.
It's Neapolitan style.
Yeah, Neapolitan style. That's a good place.
But I guess our dirty boy favorites are like
what we're probably having tonight.
Burrito Boys and Meltwitch.
Yeah.
Meltwitch Food Co.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
they have the best fake chicken sandwich I've ever eaten.
Good. Yeah,
it's like so convincing.
If they were like, we've tricked you the whole time, it's actually chicken. I'd be like, yeah, damn.
That makes sense.
Nashville chicken sandwich is so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. That's for if you're feeling real gross and drunk at the end of the night.
Yeah.
They got like poutine and grilled cheese and like all the comfort foods, mac and cheese.
What's that ramen place that we went to recently too? They do good ramen.
They're all right. I can't remember what they're called though. They're out in the East End by Titus's place actually.
Isn't that something with a B, Bhutan ramen or something?
Bhutan ramen or something like that.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually only useful for maybe one or two of our listeners anyway.
For Elle, in case she's listening.
Yeah, and she probably has better recommendations than we do. Okay, before we go, because there are a couple questions here that are about what we're doing next, but I think maybe we should talk about some of our favorite parts of this campaign before we move on.
And if anyone has any questions for each other,
true,
what they were thinking, we can ask each other questions.
Definitely.
Yeah. So favorite parts. I don't know who wants to start.
I think that the growing animosity between Finn and Jackie was just so delicious to me this time around. Like, didn't like her the first game we played.
Yeah.
You know?
It's only gotten worse.
Which was mainly me.
Yeah.
You know, but this time vindicated. You know, because she was the asshole.
Yeah.
Vindicated. I got vindicated when she fucking shot me.
Twice.
Shot you, yeah.
How did she shoot you twice?
No,
how do
she
you
shot
accidentally
him once and then she shot someone else on the team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I took the bullet in the line of fire style. Yeah.
She has some making up to do.
Yeah, she does.
She's a way to go before she's redeemed.
Yeah. The seating plans in the barbecue have to usually have us on opposite sides.
Yeah.
She's who's the guy that everyone doesn't like at the barbecue?
Jason Statham.
She's the Jason Statham at the barbecue.
She is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite parts probably were when we were like at the parties pretending to be drunk.
Yeah, that was some good shit.
The hangover the next day was awful.
It was so stupid.
I lost a jacket because of that.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Bianca drunk was really funny.
I got to be like sort of the dad during that, which was fun too. Just to be like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah. At the
get your shit together.
That was really good. I enjoyed that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a different dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite thing to do in this campaign was always playing Stanley. I fucking
Stanley's fun.
it's like I can just turn my
like
brain
instinct.
off and go into like just like no thoughts, head empty mode, and just talk as Stanley, and it's always so fun to do. But
you were so good as Teresa. I was gonna say like that was one of your better character voices.
Thank you.
I think.
Well, I'd say my favorite was Augie.
Oh my god!
Every time Augie's voice came on, my ribs were hurting because I had to stifle the laughter.
Didn't you model that character voice after like that episode of Adventure Time? Yeah, Adventure Time, when they try to give Lady Rainicorn a like
collar, and one of them
collar that like translates in real time.
Voice modes was
old man.
So that's what I was using.
Sounded like this.
Yeah.
Hey Finn. Hey Jake. Okay, I'm going.
There were a lot of great character voices in this one. The Ninja Turtles were great.
Ninja Turtles. I love how the only combat we got into with them, they completely fucked it up.
That might be one of my favorite
through the nunchucks.
Yeah, and all you see is nunchucks coming from the the blackness of the sewer and completely missing everything.
Right by it.
Completely missing.
That might be one of my favorite moments right there. Is just like when it's them disappearing into the darkness. Was
you
such
think they're
cool
going to be
setup.
badass? And no.
And then the rolls just did not come.
It was delicious.
Yeah. I also really just liked, that moment at the end. I liked how the last race ended up. It kind of was just based all off of the rolls and all off of kind of what was happening and all the decisions that you two were making. And this idea of just like the racers, which was kind of like the theme part of the theme, which is just chasing something you'll never get.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
having to come to terms.
Just Rio, like even though he made this deal, even though he knows that like if he doesn't come in second, then he'll die or something, he still wants to win, you know?
Right.
And you going and trying to save him and talk him out of it, and then you falling in the fire,
risking
and
my own skin, literally
pulling you out of the fire and burning his legs as he walks back out of the race, and you all finish together. I just thought
so dramatic.
It was such a good ending to something that I don't think I could have ever written,
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
It was good.
But now I'm like, he's permanently scarred, I think.
Well, that's up to you. I'm not going to make that decision for you. You're burnt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up to you what you want to look like.
I think multiple times this adventure I used bodily functions to my advantage, because I was like, the part that kind of ruins that whole ending is when I pissed myself. The part when I peed myself.
I should have asked Alec to cut that out. But no, the best part of that though was you're like, okay, what now? And because I made you roll for it, and you're like, okay, what now? And I was like, it feels good. Just call me. And you're like, great, thanks, Flo. That's not what I was asking for. I was kind of hoping that it would do something.
You did the same thing when I shat myself to not go in the car, where you're like, feels warm and good. And I was like, well, thanks for that.
Well, you're the one who suggested it happen.
I had a different intention when I did that.
Yeah.
It's good to know, though, that it was comforting when that happened.
Yeah, I loved that. That was really funny.
Good. Yeah.
It was a good call out.
I really liked playing the whole parachute thing, like being convinced that it was really good. Even like that's my commitment to not metagaming. Just being like, I have so much confidence in this parachute.
Yeah.
That I tried to make it a part of every plan.
Yeah.
It only really worked for one, which was the one where we drove off the side.
That was pretty awesome though.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That was great. I liked all the vehicle shenanigans this time around. It got much more bonkers than last time.
I liked sport mode versus compact mode.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for each other, or?
I was curious, I guess, about where it got derailed the most, but we kind of covered that.
So one thing I didn't say is that in that answer is I didn't really have any rails for it to be deed from.
Right. You kind of knew
loose.
what you were getting into with us. And
Yeah, and that and like I just we've been very busy making Psychroma. Please go wishlist it. And I just didn't have a ton of time to prepare, so I kind of embraced a more loose style where I had like about 1 page of notes for each episode, maybe a little less, and then it was just like loose ideas and like mainly remembering what happened that last episode and what everything is going on, so I wasn't too lost.
yeah.
But most of the time it was like entirely led by like what you were doing and then any ideas that gave me to move forward. So yeah, I didn't really have any rails.
Next question, though. Did you have Ninja Turtles as a note, or did that just like end up being...
Okay.
So here's another thing that would happen a lot, and I've just had to accept that this is how I work.
Yeah.
Is that something will come out of my mouth, and then I'll be like, why did I say that?
Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Yeah.
Where I was just like, you're in a sewer, and then I needed some ending, and I can't remember what it was.
You needed something.
It was just you wanted a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I just needed a cliffhanger, and I was just like, I don't know. And then I was just like, you hear the footsteps, and I was like, and it's turtle shaped. I just thought
turtle sounding footsteps.
There's people in animal
sewer,
masks,
yeah.
Right, in the sewer.
It's Fast and Furry, and they're in the sewer. I just couldn't avoid it. It all came together in my brain. I was like, Ninja Turtles, it's got to happen.
So, in book 3, I remember I had this idea for a scary cult, and then I opened my mouth. And the voice that came out was just awful.
I couldn't.
Just awful.
I just couldn't. I was in tears.
It was so good. It's my favorite voice.
Fucking
But
died.
like, did you have any? Because I know the Doctor was sort of like that, where you were just kept saying really fucking sketchy things.
Yeah.
And was there any other thing like that where you had sort of a plan and then that plan fell apart the minute that you voiced the character?
Well, one thing is I can never play people sinister. Like, I feel like Buzz was supposed to be more sinister, and he ended up kind of just like one of those guys
whiny
you just hate because he's a whiny rich asshole, which was fine.
Yeah, that works.
But I don't think so. I think other than that, all the characters kind of turned out the way that I would have pictured them.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So how about you two? Did you feel like this, like, how did you feel about your characters, like arcs this season and everything?
It was good. Yeah. I like that. Lucky had to commit herself to someone because she's been having issues with commitment lately, like with the Contails and with Rio and then Bianca.
Oh yeah. One question I wanted to ask you, Lindsay, is at the end there, you just told Rio like everything. And I did not expect that.
Right.
I thought you were going to play it kind of like slyly. And I remember you being surprised by that too, Titus.
Yes.
Where you're just like, here is the deal, selling out my family, telling you like that Jackie's going to kill you, all that stuff. And what was the motivation behind that? Because
I don't know. I didn't see it as selling out my family. I just saw it as like that was in both our best interests for him to know and for us to win the race.
I don't think either Lucky or Finn is good at keeping secrets or deception.
No, I'm like me as a person and me as a role playing or like a role player. I'm not good at deception ever.
Yeah, I can be good at it, but Finn's not good at it, so I didn't make a character that could persuade anyone. So, well,
no, your conversation was really good.
Well, that's different. That's conversation I always I'm like, you can't lie.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the high persuade role, but I just don't really. I only use it to persuade people to my side. I don't really use it to try and lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really what your characters are about. Okay, and then here's another one. What are some of the moments that you're like the most proud of that you like? Either you're proud of how you role played it, or like how you, or proud of how your character turned out, or something like that. Yeah,
I can answer this one first. There was a moment where we were at a club, and Lindsay needed a distraction for Lucky to be able to leave the club with Erica. And that created a naked jelloed up fist fight that just went on. So I'm so proud of how long and how much chaos I caused before I was finally subdued.
See, that's a moment right there that if I was like trying to like railroad a little bit more, if I had a story in mind, that wouldn't have happened. I would have tried to do something to keep things along, but I was just like, well, this is what he's doing. So the logical conclusion happened. You got captured.
And that was cool to get out of that as well. It was not cool to get brain damage from some chump.
One fucking punch.
That was wild.
Yeah.
I like made my character around being able to take a punch and give a punch. And the fact that just some like goon, some loser just gave me like cold cocked me into brain damage was
rolled 2 6s.
It was very humbling.
2 6s out of 2 6s. That's so unlikely.
So that was it was still good. It was like part of that big story that I liked. Yeah. And the jello shots and all that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was great.
It was really funny.
I was proud of my ability to role play Lucky while negotiating stuff with people, like negotiating with Jackie and Cyberjack, and then with Rio later, and being able to just keep everyone alive.
Yeah, you did a lot of that. I think a lot more than last. I think last season Lucky was kind of more just following orders a little bit. Yeah, because of you had the cottontails to lead you, and this time you were more about like you had to take more like action and talk to people and make sure they're on your side and stuff. Cool. Well.
What about you, Sloan? What are your favorite moments from this?
So I am I don't know why, but I keep going back to like tube hot dogs. I don't know.
What?
I'm not really proud of it. It's one of those things that I really like that I came up with. It's so ridiculous. I think I'm proud of the last race mechanically, even though I don't think it was perfect. I liked that idea.
You want to like share that a bit?
And I'm proud of the way. So yeah, I made a table like where there was like different road conditions, and then there was basically like a mini fumble table for if you rolled ones, you could, there was different things that could happen. I don't think it was a perfect system.
We kept rolling oil slick.
It's just you two roll a lot of twos. So it meant that like there was, and 2 was oil slick. I should have had more variety there, but it was still kind of like, I think, a novel idea. And I liked how that was introduced because again, that was on the fly. So
that was a good
I just kind of introduced the whole thing and everything, and then I was like, okay, setting up the system after in between the episodes. But yeah, I really liked that as the final race.
It was a really interesting way to handle the race, I think, too. I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, because I thought like, it's hard to mix things up in the races. It's hard to not make them kind of boring.
Yeah, especially in like an audio medium.
Yeah. So I thought it would be an interesting way to mix things up, and I in the future maybe I'll try and find other things like that to happen. So there's like random stuff that can interrupt the race and make it more kind of exciting. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Excellent.
So I guess we can talk a bit about what's next.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you want to?
Yeah. So I'm going to be GMing.
Back in the GM.
Back in the GM seat. And we are going to be going to Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Enjoys.
And it's going to be, I'm going to try to make this one episodic because you talked about wanting to be sort of a private eye and their assistant. So it's going to be based around cases. And I'm hoping that it doesn't go overboard and we can, do like maybe 5 episodes a case, although who knows, right? How long it'll take. And then do a little break where we do something fun in between and then go back to another case for a bit. And yeah, I think it's going to be grimy and it's going to be a little more
sleazy,
gritty and sleazy. Big themes are going to be gambling, obviously.
Probably drugs.
There's a big sort of drug that's hitting the street. That's kind of, and also the fact that I've did a little bit of research on the real New Jersey and Atlantic City, and also what they had envisioned in Cyberpunk. And, it's grim. It's extremely, there's a lot of poverty and, not a lot of opportunities. So it's going to be interesting, I think. And
we're going back to red.
Well, this is the thing that
we'd be going back to 2020.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's maybe something because the time period that I have planned is kind of right after the 4th corporate war. I think it's the 4th one. It's the big one between Arasaka and Militech.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like directly in the aftermath. And I think the timeline is something like 2040, 2045 or something like that. So we could either play 2020 or we could be playing red. And we'll have to make a decision soon. But if anyone in the community has any thoughts or interest in us using a particular system, feel free to voice it and at me in the Discord of what you think would... I'm kind of leaning towards 2020 just because it's going to be, I think I want like combat to be brutal and short. And red is a little more forgiving with the hit points than in 2020 can be. But there are a lot of things I like about red, like certain skills that 2020 doesn't have. But
yeah, conversation skills are good.
Conversation's great. Yeah. For instance.
And then concentration I really like.
Yeah.
Concentration's also cool.
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to be homebrewing a little bit of stuff to make a private eye character class.
Lindsay will be the private eye.
The private eye.
And my character, I'm caught between either being a writer who is trying to write, who's kind of had one big hit and then now is trying to like repeat that by following a detective and getting inspiration, or an actor who is trying to play
the role,
is kind of method and trying to shadow the detective in order to like kind of understand what it means to be a detective and get into that mindset. I'm not sure which one, but either way I'd be playing a rocker girl.
I really like the actor because it can be so obnoxious.
Yeah. It gives you a lot of, well, either way, we're going to have to find a way that like puts a little bit of a fire under your butt to, be involved in the cases or whatever.
Yeah, sure. You can have connections.
You can't just dick off to LA when the heat's on, but
yeah.
But yeah. So we will be doing a sort of setup for it where we'll make the characters, and I'm going to try to add some gambling elements into that to make it a little more juicy.
Interesting.
Give it a theme to fit the campaign that's coming up. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
And we'll go over, I don't know. I don't want to share too much. I'm sort of struggling now because I have done some prep, but like what to share and what to have naturally come up in the campaign. So We'll see.
We can leave it at that then.
Yeah.
And tune in for the next episode where we build those characters and set up the next campaign. I'm excited to be a player again. And to dive into this new world.
Miserable. And
That's right.
yeah, it was fun being a player. And now I have to get back into the responsible chair.
Yeah, exactly.
As for the schedule, we don't know yet. I think we want to try and stick to the bi-weekly schedule, but it's been difficult since we're like deep in to production right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, every time we have to take a week off, we're like, oh, sorry, we won't do it again. I think it's just how it's going to be.
We can't commit.
We're going to try and hit our bi-weekly schedule days, but we are just going to have to miss an episode here and there, unfortunately. But, we're going to try our best to
We'll announce when we're dropping the next
Definitely.
episode, though.
Yeah.
Our socials. So make sure to follow us at Rocket Adrift on Blue Sky or Threads or X if you still use that, or you can add us for an invite to our exclusive Discord channel.
If you're not a part of the Discord, definitely join the Discord.
Yeah.
It is probably the best place to like see, like join the community and participate. Our Discord's super nice. I wanted to say like thank you for the questions, but also just thanks for being cool people that
definitely.
like reading comments from time to time. Y'all are just cool.
Anytime I need a reminder that there is good in this world, I can just go on our Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thanks so much for that.
Yeah.
And thank you once again to Artel Zorine Games, to our Patreon producer, Ether Sphinx, to Ben McNally Books for the use of their space, and to all of you for listening.
Yeah.
And our Patreon producer again, Ether Sphinx.
Yes. Okay, everybody, we will see you soon. Black Lives Matter and trans rights are human rights.
Bye.
Bye.